But welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Be kind to the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And, well, it's been a fucking week, hasn't it? I just want to give an update. I saw this just an hour ago from the ACLU for anyone who is like trans and trying to get their documentation at the federal level to have the right markers and shit on it. And what they're saying is... Oh, my screen decided to go flicker for a second. That's not great. What they're saying is to hold off on that. Because at the moment, everything has come to an absolute grinding halt. And the risk is that you might end up going without your documentation for an extended period of time. So they're saying, wait. And I just thought I would just mention that, just in case anyone watching this is considering that situation. And just to be clear, I saw this evening. It's the 24th of January, for anyone who's watching this on the VOD and wondering if that's current. So this may not be current when you're watching it on the VOD, but as of the 24th of January 2025, it is. Now, yeah, there's been a bunch of fucked up shit going on. On the other hand, I just want to welcome liberals back to caring what ICE does. I mean, I hope the 4-year break that you took from that was restful. And I understand that you think that when you're not paying attention to things, that means they're not happening. But actually, a lot of this shit's been happening all along, in different ways, less bombastically. But, yeah, just because you stopped paying attention to it doesn't mean it stopped happening. So, nice to have you return to giving a shit about what ICE does. But maybe check the information that you share. Because there's, like, infographics that I've been seeing. And some of them, they have, like, mostly okay information, but in some respects, they're not great. Like, they'll say they need a signed warrant to get in. Well, that's missing the important bit. Because whether they can actually get into private premises without consent depends on who signed the warrant. If it's a so-called administrative warrant signed by a so-called immigration judge, that's no good. They can't get in with that. That is because an immigration judge is not an actual judge. They're an administrative law judge is what it's called. It's like an employee of the agency. So it has to be signed by a federal judge from a federal court. That gets left off a lot. And the other thing is, a lot of people don't realize that ICE does not, their uniforms and their vehicles don't always say ICE. And it's important to know what you're looking for if you're going to be trying to spot them and report on what they're doing and shit. So sometimes they will say police. Sometimes it will say police ICE. Other times it will say HSI, that stands for Homeland Security Investigations. And it is like the investigative wing of the deportation cops. And other times it will say ERO. stands for Enforcement and Removal Operations, and those are the hit squads. And the other thing to know is that they are known to use fake commercial vehicles. These are like pickups and like panel vans and stuff made up to look like local businesses, but the local business does not actually exist. So if you see a vehicle like that lurking around, and it's got a logo and a phone number from a business you've never fucking heard of, it's not a bad idea to look it up. Hey, River Rune. And, and if the business doesn't exist, it's not a bad idea to let people know that may be an undercover vehicle. Because that is a thing that they do. So, and there are, like, immigrant solidarity organizations all over the place, and there's probably one near you, and there are definitely people who should have that kind of information and maybe already have it. So, anyway, I wanted to mention those things. It has been an absolutely exhausting week, and I'm trying to talk about a couple of things to do with that. I've got some, like, come-down viewing that I think we could probably all be in the mood for to start out. But I wanted to say a couple of things. And one of them is, I haven't seen this in the past, like, week, but I've seen it in the past year. And it is this weird-ass take that being a refugee fleeing a place where you're not safe to go to some place where you have some chance of being safer is inherently settler colonial, and that's not how any of those things work. I mean, that just literally isn't. And people who are in the firing line and are considering getting the fuck out should not be shamed for it. And it is also, I should say, not really even ducking the struggle, because this is a global empire. The struggle's everywhere. There are roles for everyone to play. And there's a little story I'd like to tell you to explain why this is actually such a shitty take. There was a woman who was known in Chile as La Flaca Alejandra. That was sort of her, like, code name. But here's the deal with her. She was originally one of the most senior people in a group called the Movimiento de Izquierda Revolucionaria, a revolutionary left movement in Chile, an organization that had existed well before the dictatorship, was one of the main armed resistance groups in the first phases of the dictatorship. And she was one of very few women to have a senior role in it. So shortly after the coup in Chile in 1973, she gets picked up. And she gets tortured and stuff, and she doesn't give anything up then. But she realizes she's not going to be able to withstand this again. And so she goes to her comrades in the Central Committee, says, look, you got to get me out of the country. If they pick me up again and do that to me again, I'm going to say everything I know because I'm not going to be able to handle it. And they responded to this in a way that, with hindsight, it was suboptimal. Because they said, the Mir doesn't seek asylum, the Mir doesn't go into exile. Yeah, and so therefore, just go back and return to your duties, and yeah, that is what they said to her. They could have said, you could build up the international solidarity movement, you could go to Cuba, help us with, like, training stuff. They had a relationship with Cuba. Go to, Europe or someplace and help raise funds or, smuggle shit in or whatever to get out of the line of fire. But instead they said, no, the Mir does not go into exile or anything like that. And so she didn't. She returned to her duties. And she got picked up again. And they tortured her again. And not only did she tell them every single thing that she knew, exactly as she said that she would, because she said she wasn't going to be able to handle it, She ended up being a full-time employee for them. They would send her out to identify people. I mean, she became one of the deadliest fucking snitches in Chile. I mean, to the extent eventually they put her on salary. Like, she had a pension plan and everything. She was able to go abroad on paid time off and stuff like that. And all of this because the people in the leadership of the MIR were just so short-sighted about this that they didn't consider that she was doing them a favor by letting them know this, by giving them the opportunity to avoid a potentially extremely bad situation. And a whole lot of people got killed as a result, when they could have said, yeah, there's work for everybody to be doing wherever they are, and we do need people abroad, and you can be that. And it would be safer for everyone, and it probably would have not meant that the MIR did not end up having the huge security holes that they had, that ended up meaning that their armed organization in Chile got completely wrecked. Because, like, literally all their safe houses were known to the secret police and shit. So, like, if you're thinking about getting the hell out because you think that's the safer option, you shouldn't, don't let people shame you about that. You have to make these decisions, and the struggle is going to be there everywhere. There are just different roles in different places, and you're seeing it from a different angle. So, that's the other thing. I mean, I would be lying if I said I wasn't considering my options in that regard. Because this is, I would say, looking kind of bad. The other thing is, there has been good news. Check out the Electronic Intifada livestream for this week, if you haven't already. Because, I mean, actually, some horrible things are also happening in Gaza. But some good things are happening there as well. Like, for the most part, Israel is not breaching the ceasefire too badly. They are breaching it somewhat. They have been, like, shooting random people who are returning to their homes and stuff as they withdraw. But not for the most part. Nothing, like, no fucking airstrikes and shit like that. Of course, they're, like, really hitting the West Bank hard. And when I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about how, actually, according to the Palestinian negotiators, Trump actually played a role in getting Israel to finally accept the deal that had been on the table since December 2023, which makes sense, not because he's in any way a good person who gives any kind of fuck about the Palestinians, but because he knew that he was not going to be doing very well if he had that going on day one. Because a lot of people who were kind of going easy on Biden would not be going easy on him. And the result of that is, I mean, on a certain level, we're kind of, those of us who are in one way or another targeted by this asshole, we're kind of taking the hit for them this time. And I'm reminded of what some people in Yemen said shortly after the first big Israeli airstrikes on Yemen in response to the sanctions. And they said, if we're taking if we're taking hits that were meant for the Palestinians, I consider that an honor. And I mean, I think that is a good way to think about this, because they're getting a respite that they absolutely should have had in the first place. Fuck knows how long it's gonna hold. And now we're taking fucking hits, and we have to just kind of deal with that and fight back in whatever ways we find that work. I mean, just because the hit is coming our way certainly does not mean we have to smile and fucking bear it. And in fact, we absolutely shouldn't. So, yeah. Those were just some thoughts I had. And I figure since this has just been a hell of a week, I might just kind of start out with some of my own personal favorite come-down viewing. Porcupines. Porcupines are one of the wonderful things we have on this planet. And if you have not heard the noises porcupines make, you are in for a treat right now. These are things that I watch anytime shit gets to be too much for me. And they're a big help. So here we go. Give me a second. Get this thing up here. Such funny looking little bastards too. It look like they're gonna send you on a side quest. I need to have the chat window open so where I can actually see what's going on while we watch it. Forgot to do that. Here we go. Bonsoir, Adrien.
Hi, Teddy Bear. This is Teddy Bear, your favorite Zooniversity porcupine. We know Teddy Bear likes corn, but I thought we'd see if Teddy liked pumpkins today.
Spoiler,
What is
he
that,
does.
Ted? What is that? What is it?
Those noises.
Is that good? Is it? How good is it? This is what Teddy does with leftover holiday pumpkins.
Just listen to those noises. And those impressive claws. I know it. This is it. Just allows you to feel that there is some good in the world. Yes, at the very least, there are porcupines in it who sound exactly the way you would expect a cartoon porcupine to sound. Listen to this. Listen to this. Oh, I think he just told us to fuck ourselves. Sounded like he said fuck that.
What do you think, Teddy? Good pumpkin?
Okay. I'm gonna say I've got more of this, but I'm gonna save it for the end, I think. In the meantime, just So Kaitlyn Bennett, who likes to go around university campuses, I bet he could eat the stem. I mean, they have impressive teeth, and basically get dunked on. Has started going around university. She announced she was going to go around more university campuses and get dunked on. So I thought we might watch some of that. Just keep it a little bit light because, I mean, this week has been, this past like 15 months have been kicking my ass. I think kicking a lot of our asses, some way more than others, emotionally, but figure keep it a little bit light. This week, if that sounds good to everybody. Okay, this is Kaitlyn Bennett, and the video's called "This is the most insane thing I've ever heard." I had the idea, and I might actually do this. Speaking of, again, of porcupine noises, of taking my audio composition software, getting a bunch of samples of these little guys making their little noises, and sort of layering them at different, like using the panning effect to create sort of a surround sound vibe, like you're surrounded by happy little porcupines having snacks, like sort of an ASMR thing. And of course, if I do this, it will be in the Discord. I will like play it on here. You will all get to enjoy it. It is a thing I'm considering. But okay, this is somebody is about to blow Kaitlyn Bennett's mind, and I personally am curious what it took.
When does a baby become someone who deserves rights to you?
To me, in my opinion, I know this is kind of like a crazy, but I think like 6 months. And I don't even think it should have rights at that point.
Like, okay.
Like, I feel like...
okay, okay, this, I will say, I'm a little bit uncertain where she's going with this, too.
Like, newborns barely have rights. Why do we have more rights on fetuses?
All right. Well, what do you care about?
I like music. That's kind of all I do, honestly. Yeah. So.
Do you care at all about the political atmosphere that's going on?
I do care a little bit about political atmosphere. Yeah. I'm independent.
Okay. So, as an
which is a term that's everybody like people are always so confident they know what it means, and
independent, how do you feel?
I'm actually surprised to hear somebody under the age of about 50 calling themselves that.
About Trump taking office, do you have high hopes? Are you a little nervous?
I'm a little nervous. I feel like I would have been nervous either way. I'm just anti two-party system. I feel like we're just falling victim over and over again with two options.
Yeah. Who would you pick to be in the president's seat?
Out of the two?
No, out of anybody.
Out of
okay, this should be interesting.
Anybody? I don't know.
You're like me.
Me.
Yeah, myself.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, because if there's one thing about Kaitlyn Bennett, it's that she's just so politically independent. She's so uncertain. She literally, I mean, she has timed all of this to, like, sort of take advantage of the excitement in the fascist sphere with Trump coming back. But not that she's, like, got any kind of political affiliation other than her weird sort of attachment to feudalism that she calls libertarianism, but she also thinks there should be an absolute monarchy or something.
So actually, between the two, who did you want to win?
I voted for Kamala.
Okay. All right. What led you more to her than Donald Trump?
Personally, it was more of a social issues thing.
Okay, so far this is not particularly, not particularly mind-blowing.
Especially abortion.
And this is the thing with Kaitlyn. This is her entire thing. She walks around trying to dunk on people, except she isn't good at it. And so what she gets is just fucking university students saying kind of reasonable things.
Stuff like that was just stuff that I was passionate about, considering just experiences that I've had in my friends.
Okay.
With Florida laws.
Yeah. Did the Florida laws prevent your friends from receiving an abortion? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're pregnant right now or had the baby?
No, it was a forced miscarriage. And I felt like that was just a really weird situation. Yeah.
What is a forced miscarriage?
It's not my story to tell, so.
Yeah, don't snitch.
I just never heard the term forced miscarriage. I don't even know what that is.
Well, I'm personally not terribly shocked that she doesn't know what something is.
It was basically she couldn't get an abortion, and she has a lot of issues where she couldn't have the baby herself. So basically she just didn't eat for a few days until.
So she starved.
Yeah, okay. If she's based in Florida, that would definitely not be something to
herself in order.
Not be something to tell somebody like this, actually.
To.
Hey, Adam.
miscarry.
Yeah, so that she wouldn't have to carry the baby.
Okay. And so you knew that this was happening.
Like, I mean, actually, that's kind of fucked up that she just told this story, because it probably would not be hard for, some asshole in Florida to work out who that is and come after her. Like, don't do that. Like, fucking don't do this. Don't. She said it wasn't her story to tell, and she was absolutely right. And when she said I thought when she said forced miscarriage, she was talking about, like, wasn't a viable birth or something like that. And yeah, she's absolutely said too much. Like, fucking don't do this. Don't, like.
And there was no way to find support for her, instead of her feeling like she just had to starve herself and then kill her baby.
I guess. I mean, I guess I don't see it as killing a baby. I found it as her trying to save.
Well, yeah, because it literally isn't one.
Her life and her career. So.
Do you think a career is more important than a child or a human being?
It's more than a career. It's a life. It's your whole.
It is a life. There is a life that she purposely.
Well,
it's
forced to leave her body and kill.
Well, I mean, it was her fucking body to do it.
Career, she should go be able to have the career instead of going to having to, like, have a child. Like, that's a whole. Also, going through birth, like, if you don't want to have a baby and you go through birth, that's traumatizing.
It's worth noting, not as like, abortion remains safer than childbirth. Yeah, a lot of the time.
I don't think birth is as scary as people lead us to believe.
How many fucking kids have you had?
But I also think women are very strong and they're very capable, and I don't think that we have to choose between a career and being a mother. There's absolutely no reason why in 2025 and
like, maybe because of the people who you like to hang out with that fucking... who are all about the trad wife bullshit, maybe they have... Hey, Badger. Like, it seems like, actually, if she's, like, paying any attention at all to her fellow far-right grifters, she would know that this is actually not a widely held view amongst them.
Culture we live in right now and all the resources we have, white women are being...
Well, yes, the culture we live in right now, the one that you're trying to change to make it worse. Like, wow.
Told that they have to choose. We are very strong. We have a lot of support systems nowadays. Actually,
we don't have a lot of support. Not in the U.S. we don't.
The men in this generation, I would say millennials and past, are way more involved as fathers and dads than in older generations.
Well, yeah, except that sometimes the guy isn't somebody you want to have involved. Sometimes the guy is actually part of the reason that you definitely can't actually go through with the pregnancy. Like, sometimes their involvement, it makes things worse. That's also a thing.
So I think there's a lot of change going on where we don't have to tell women that they have to choose.
There's a lot of change, like in Florida, for example, where
career or their child, because
she could have gotten a safe fucking medical abortion and instead she, like, fucking starved herself, and her friend is so completely unadapted to the realities of what this situation means that she just fucking snitched on her.
Now, your friend, she might...
To a far-right grifter who absolutely is not going to not snitch.
Be at work one day and have a wonderful career, but she's always going to remember about that baby that she forced to leave her body and she killed.
I mean, like, personally, I don't agree, but I think it's okay that we don't agree. That's just kind of... That's why I'm independent.
Yeah.
I feel like...
Do you think it's sad?
I think it's sad that she had to do that, yeah.
But did she have to do that?
Yes. Yes, she fucking did.
I know her and I know her situation, yes.
Yeah. No one has to do that.
Yeah, yes, they do, though.
In your opinion?
No, that's just a fact.
No.
There is never a reason.
You don't know her?
Yeah, there's literally
Nobody has to.
I mean, she's calling this the most insane thing she's ever heard.
Do that.
Yeah, no one has to kill their child. No one. There's never a reason that you have to kill your child.
I mean, let's just remember that she comes from a part of the sort of political spectrum where everybody's celebrating the fact that Daniel Penny strangled a guy, Jordan Neely, in the subway, and what a wonderful thing that was. But, like, this is where she draws the fucking line.
7-week-old fetus.
Yes, that is a human.
Okay.
Is it something else?
What?
Is it something else? Is it a human?
I see it as a clump of cells. A fetus hasn't breathed, hasn't.
Like, it is human tissue, but like, so are lots of things that aren't people.
Any of that, so I don't see it as a baby.
Okay, so what is it?
A fetus.
Oh yeah.
What is a fetus?
A clump of cells.
Okay. What if we looked at those cells? What kind of DNA would they have?
Like the same fucking DNA that you'll find in used Kleenex. Yeah, you can't. I mean, that's not a person, though.
I don't know. Just cells with human. You're gonna say human DNA.
Yeah, human DNA. This person and their cells have human DNA, a unique set of DNA that will never be replicated again because they belong to that person. A fetus is just one stage in a human's life cycle. So, like, you're a young adult, one day you'll be an elderly person. That doesn't mean that you weren't a person at this stage in your life. But
yeah, but the difference is that she actually is, in fact, a person. Like, she's not a fetus. That's why she's got the headphones and she's fucking talking with you. Actually,
you're 90 years old, you're still going to be a person, and you're a person right now, and you were a person at the 9-month mark when you were in your mother's womb.
I guess in my opinion, I don't see how forcing a woman to have children is going to help any situation. Or children like in like care system, like foster care, swimming with children who need help. Like it's not. And also like you're just gonna. Some people shouldn't be parents. And
yeah, well, some people. I would agree that some people aren't good parents, but you're never a good parent if you choose to eliminate your child's
life. Well, because you're not a parent.
Life. I mean, period, right there.
Well,
you're not a good.
You never had a kid.
Well, no. Once a woman becomes pregnant, they're a parent.
No, they're not.
She's a mother.
In your opinion?
No, she has offspring.
No, she doesn't.
But that has not offspring from her.
Okay, good. I have never seen offspring verb. It is not offsprang from her.
So I guess it's not.
I like that medical term.
In my personal opinion, I see it as just like a pregnant woman.
What is she?
Well, yeah, her personal opinion that is worth noting is also just like basic fucking biology.
Pregnant with
a baby, I guess.
A baby, so she is a mother, and that
no.
Her
Baking
offspring.
Baby. A pre-baked baby.
A pre-baked baby?
Yeah.
Okay. When does a baby become someone who deserves rights to you?
To me, in my opinion, I know this is kind of like a crazy, but I think like 6 months. And I don't even think it should have rights at that point. Like
see, if this weren't low effort right-wing content, she'd come back and say, like, what kind of rights are you talking about? Because maybe we're not talking about the same ones. But she doesn't do that because this is low-effort right-wing content.
I feel like newborns barely have rights. Why do we have more rights on fetuses?
So you think, like, a newborn shouldn't have rights?
No, I didn't say that. I said
newborns
barely have rights.
So
why are we really focused on, like, not born
fetuses? See, I mean, she moved it around. She took it back to where
cells who like can't even form a thought.
Can newborns form a cohesive thought and articulate that?
Probably not words, but they can talk to. They can communicate.
The thing is, Kaitlyn Bennett is not good at twisting everything, and so for the most part, she just gets dunked on. She just walks around getting dunked on, and then she doesn't edit it out.
They can try to do stuff like that.
They have instincts and ways to communicate, but a baby can survive outside of the womb at 20 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for long.
But it didn't.
No, because your friend forced her baby to die and then give birth.
She did what she had to do for her career.
Well, if that's what she had to do, then let's name it. She killed her baby.
She had an abortion. Okay, we'll name it. That's what that was.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like, see,
she's on a strict set of medications that like don't allow that to happen. Like she would have had to cold turkey all her like medications.
Yeah. Women deserve to sacrifice for their children.
She says, having herself never done so.
What?
Women deserve to sacrifice for their children.
Like, what do you mean deserve to?
And I think that's something that women aren't told nowadays, especially this generation.
Well, see, what's great about this is her going like full 180. Because a minute ago she was all about, no, you don't have to have an abortion because the way the culture is, you can, women can have a career and have children. And now she brings up that her friend, who she's said way too much about, again, has like medical needs that would have made this impossible. And now all of a sudden she's going, no, women deserve to sacrifice.
Especially just in our culture.
I mean, the time to end this when Kaitlyn Bennett is in the mix, unless you have just already mapped out a way to dunk on her completely, just to, you just say, yeah, fuck off, and then you leave.
Deserve to make difficult choices and sacrifice for their
children. Well, she made a difficult choice. Yeah, she made a difficult choice, though. Made even more difficult by the fucking laws in Florida.
Children. Yeah, because the children deserve this. Women have a...
the point is the word choice is in there. And what she's saying is that she shouldn't have had the option.
Responsibility to their child. And it's not a responsibility to have a fancy career that you can make a lot of money and get a lot of...
Well, yeah, because, what do you need money for? Kids don't need money. Kids don't need, food and clothes and shit and a place to live.
Pretty dresses and designer handbags. When you are pregnant, your priority becomes your child. And if you have to make sacrifices to do that, that's what you should do. And women are not told that.
When you don't want to be pregnant and you're in a situation like that, it's not fair to have to put your whole life aside to carry this child.
Is it fair to kill that? So where does the child come in?
It doesn't, because there isn't one yet. Because what she described does not work unless we're talking very early stages in the first place.
Where does the child come in? I hear a lot of the woman, if you don't want,
the reason you hear that is that's who we're talking about. That's the person in this discussion.
You don't want. Well, what about the child? Where does the child come in?
The child doesn't know what it wants. It can't think.
That's why, good job. That's why it depends on the mother to...
Yeah, the word deserve was an interesting choice.
Make good choices and sacrifice.
If we're I don't know, I feel like a dog or a cow can form more thoughts than a fetus, okay? Think about how we treat cows in our meat industry. Yeah. We're not crazy about cow rights.
I think there's a whole organization called PETA dedicated to animal rights.
Who are,
they like to kill the animals. Yeah, PETA sucks shit.
Cows and stuff like that.
If you abuse animals.
Okay.
Yeah, if you abuse animals, you can go to jail.
Tell that to a factory farm. I'm sure they're quaking in their boots.
A cow, you're not gonna go to jail.
Well, that's because a cow is a cow and a human child is a human child.
However,
but a cow is an animal, and you just said that abusing an animal you will go to jail for, which. No, you won't, for the most part.
Cows have a high emotional capacity, about the same as a dog, and more than a fetus clump of cells.
Yeah.
So why are...
we're not even talking about a fetus in the scenario that we've been told about.
Be more focused on the clump of cells than the thing with 2 eyes and that can move.
Because a fetus also has 2 eyes.
No, actually, well, eventually they do, but at the stage that we're talking about, no, they don't. They don't have much of anything. They don't have fucking limbs.
And a fetus can experience stimuli to their environment, and they are aware of...
Well, yeah, but experiencing stimuli does not mean you're aware of them.
What's going on? They move
No, they're not.
Away from abortion instruments when they're inserted into their space.
No, they don't.
And they can feel pain. But furthermore, that doesn't even matter.
Not at the stage we're talking about. A stage at which there would be no fucking... basically all the fucking worst jobs are held by people who have the constant threat of deportation being held over their heads.
Cow is a cow. A human child is a human child. And
a fetus is a fetus. Welcome to the conversation.
A human has more rights than a cow does, and they have more intrinsic value.
Yeah, and a human has more rights than a fetus does too. Yeah, exactly. In fact, since the Clinton years, there has been a program. Yeah, this is before ICE was even called ICE. This is back when they were still the INS, where employers can schedule fucking raids, deportation raids, so that if their workers are starting to talk union, they can just have them all deported. And, there are no consequences for the employer.
Value. Because a cow is a cow. Well, here, let me do this.
Yeah, and
Okay,
this is a fetus. We just went through this.
Give cows rights, would you be willing to give a fetus rights?
Here's what I'm saying is I bring up that point because I feel like we hold so much value on like fetuses and stuff because us as people, we hold ourselves as superior. When I feel like that's not the case. I feel like we're just kind of making it up as we go.
Do we have rights?
Yeah, we do have rights.
We do have rights. Okay.
Sometimes.
What? Well, why do we have rights?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she would. And I have a feeling that you would dunk the shit out of her, Phoenix.
Amendments, shit like that.
Okay, but do we deserve them?
What the fuck does that mean?
I feel like rights are deserved.
Okay.
Which I know you feel like it's a right of the child, but I feel like it's a right of the mother to be able to choose if she wants the child.
Yeah, well, yes, because it's her fucking body.
Yeah, couldn't she make that choice before she has sex?
Okay, see, that doesn't always work like that, though.
It does?
No, it really doesn't.
So no. There's cases of rape, there's cases of incest, there's cases of people not taking condoms off without telling a woman. There are hundreds of situations where a woman could get pregnant without wanting to be pregnant.
No, I think I think I've got one where that is brought up and her head explodes.
Without even wanting to have sex. Or a lack of education on the matter. Like, it's not about...
All that aside, what...
All those things that completely refute her position. See, this is the thing. This is Kaitlyn Bennett's incompetence at work. Because if she knew her job, which is the easiest thing in the world, she would cut out most of this. But instead, she leaves all of this stuff in where she's just being completely dunked on.
What do we do with the new person that is created? When do they deserve rights?
What do you mean by that?
That was the question that she should have asked the first time.
The new person that's created.
Like, when do they have rights?
When do they have rights? Yeah, when do people...
That's not the same question as when do they deserve rights.
People get their rights.
When do people get their rights? I guess when they're born or when they get a birth certificate with a social security card.
I thought you were independent. You're over here like, well...
Wait.
We need social security cards to have rights.
Well, how does one... Yeah, you can be independent and... What?
I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying I'm pro social security card, but you're saying what?
Why would I mean? What's to be anti there? What, the card? I mean, the card sucks. Let's say it. A thing you have to hold on to for your entire fucking life, and it's made of cheap ass cardboard.
When do people get rights? And I'm saying when they're formally recognized by the government, I feel like they get rights.
Okay, all right. I appreciate you for your time.
Of course.
We are going to just move on to a couple more people.
Okay, and we are also going to move on to a couple more people.
You're doing it as a way of just still trying to be disrespectful because you're refusing to call me he. That's
So
the thing.
you want me to actively call you a boy and call you he?
That's crazy because that's what I just said.
You see, again, not only this is her cold open. She should have edited this out completely because this is her once again getting fucking dunked on.
I'm not gonna do it.
It's just respectful for you to continue to call me she after I told you that's not, like, I'm not comfortable with that at all.
I will call you Cyrus.
Wow, that's fucking big of you.
The video you're about to watch about transgenderism has way too many spicy moments for us to upload the content here on social media. To get the full uncensored interaction, go over to libertyhangout.tv where we are running
Oh, I mean, what we've already seen is her being completely embarrassed.
our biggest sale ever in the history of libertyhangout.tv. Roll the tape. So let's read this. Yeah, so Trump's 24 plan on transgender Americans includes outlawing gender-affirming care for minors. For minors. Let's be
Yeah, and let's just remember, it's never, ever just for minors.
important here. That's for minors.
Yeah, that's still bad, actually. That will still kill a lot of people, actually.
Children.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because she was just so concerned about the fetuses. And she was like, well, you know, when does a... when does a human have rights and stuff like that? And she, was, gobsmacked when the student she was talking to says, I don't know, when they're 6 months old. I mean... It's kind of wild that a newborn hardly has any rights, but a fetus does. And now here she is saying that when trans kids are born, they shouldn't even have the right to stay alive.
So, do you think that minors should be given hormone replacement therapy?
Yes.
Or surgeries?
Well, I mean...
Okay, so I want to...
That's rare. It does happen.
I'm just gonna...
And when it does happen, it happens because it's fucking necessary.
A blanket statement a lot of this here, but I do not think banning any kind of medical procedure in any context is okay. And I say this specifically because, first of all, minors can't receive gender-affirming surgery. Top surgery, most.
I mean, that what she's saying is not true. It is extremely unusual. It almost never happens. In fact, the only case, actually, the latest statistics I saw, there were 160 cases in the past year of gender-affirming surgeries on minors. And literally all of them, except for one, were cis boys with gynecomastia.
Doctors will not do top surgery below the age of 16.
Okay, let's ban it. Well, 16?
Well, no.
So do you think a 16-year-old should be able to receive getting their breast cut off?
If they want it.
I did. Well, 16-year-olds can get breast reductions if they're female.
That's not what I'm asking.
No.
Well, it is, though, because why should the one be different? Why exactly should that be okay if you're saying that a trans boy can't have a fucking top surgery?
I'm asking what I'm asking. So gender affirming care is saying you are perfect as who you were born as, and we're going to affirm you in the perfection that.
What the fuck is she talking about?
You were born as. You were born as a female.
Oh, wait, so the perfection. So, for example, if you have nearsightedness or a lazy eye, no glasses, because that would be interfering with the perfection. No dental work, because again, the perfection, you gotta worry about the perfection. I mean, I'm noticing that she's got some little sort of appliance in her hair, Kaitlyn has. And I think she's interfering with the perfection, actually. In fact, I think I see extensions. And that's definitely interfering with the perfection.
There is nothing wrong with your body. This is who you are, and this is who you are made to be. We're going to affirm that.
Yeah, look at the guy. Look at this guy here. Just come looking.
And let you know that you
what the fuck is this bullshit? Oh, I see. We've got a link spammer. We're gonna just take care of that link spammer.
Special, that you matter, and that you care.
Well, I mean, you matter, except except when you say who you are, that doesn't matter, apparently.
Personally, I just don't think it's the general public's business what someone else decides to do with your body. If you are confused and you want to get yourself a surgery, it's really not anybody's business but your own to... do so.
It's everyone's business if someone is suffering. If a
Well, except that you're saying that you want them to suffer more.
group of people is suffering, and we see injustices being performed upon them.
Except you're pro injustices.
If it's in the terms of social media indoctrinating kids into thinking that they were born into the wrong body,
That's not how that works.
making women more susceptible to these types of surgeries because they are inherently just bombarded with body image issues. And the lack of fathers in the home is an
What is this, like fucking conservative bullshit bingo here? Yeah, we're gonna say lack of fathers and, I don't know, maybe some cultural Marxism. We'll put some cultural Marxism. We haven't done that yet.
another one of that. If we don't promote these things, we have a society right now who promotes very, very dangerous ideologies for how the...
Well, yeah, like, for example, there's this, really annoying blonde woman who runs around campuses, and she wants to bring back feudalism, which she calls libertarianism.
family should run, which creates a lot of...
And she's really big on child abuse, which is fascinating because she doesn't want to see a hair harmed on the hairless head of a fetus.
trauma for children, who then, if you ask most people who come up with these...
Of a traumatic family. I would like to ask, what is your idea of, like, the traumatic family that shouldn't be idealized?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Abuse.
Abuse?
Well, yeah, what the fuck are you talking... What do you mean by abuse, though? Because we just got done... She's clearly okay with certain kinds of abuse. She was explaining it.
Abuse.
What do you define as abuse? In regards
abuse
to,
can be a lot of things. It can...
Well, yeah, it can, Kaitlyn. It can. What the fuck is it?
be mental abuse, it could be emotional abuse, it could be physical abuse.
Like, can you give a fucking example of the thing?
I also think simply just an unstable home with when two parents are not raising children together in a loving environment.
So is the issue the lack of the loving environment or the lack of the two parents, or like what?
That's
I can't stress enough that she talks into a microphone for a living, and this is how badly she does it.
Also detrimental to a children's upbringing. We see it with
the upbringing of a children.
a lot of people who are in the prison system. If you look at most of them, they come from really broken homes.
No, I mean, no, they don't. But what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
And we have a society who says, let's just go out there, have casual sex, relationships don't matter.
Yeah, people are having casual sex when there is prison. There is prison, but people are having casual sex. These things contradict each other in a way that Kaitlyn only knows.
Focus on your career, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and get divorced if there's any little problems going on in your family. Did not know it was going to rain today. Yeah, those are just examples. I think a lot of what we promote for young people to do ends up leading to unstable homes because people don't have grounded beliefs and passions in what they think that a family should be.
I do want to say that, so you believe that gender affirming care only
okay, here we go. It
only exists to affirm the gender that one is defined at birth, right?
How they were born. You are given a gender at birth based on who you are.
Well, how does anyone fucking know who they are at birth? You haven't even had a fucking conversation with them at birth. There are people I have been acquainted with for 20 years who I've been able to have conversations with for that length of time, and I still couldn't tell you who the fuck they are because, but Kaitlyn's special. She knows who everyone is the minute they are born.
Okay, so you also believe that minors shouldn't be able to affirm their own birth assigned genders through surgery. So if a man, for example, I knew a man who under the age of 18 had surgery because he was developing breast tissue.
Yeah, this is incidentally the main type of... when you look at the statistics on top surgery in minors, it is overwhelmingly cis boys who got gynecomastia.
And that can happen normally, through, just being born.
To be fair, the weather report is usually best in retrospect.
Born with, messed up hormone levels, diet, and he had surgery to take out breast tissue. I forgot the name of the condition. It's like gyno something. Yes, yeah, that's.
Gynosaurs.
That's the one.
The Taurus over
So I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody receiving that type of surgery, and I believe it's a similar surgery if if a woman wants to get breast reduction or if.
Let me respond to that. So what you just described, and that
Yeah, let's see her try to deal with that.
actually has a name for it because it's actually not supposed to be that way.
Yeah, well, there's a name for this other stuff too. Like, she thinks that things only have names if they're not the way they're supposed to be. Which I find interesting because Kaitlyn Bennett is a name. So she has a name. Having a name means something shouldn't be the way it is. I don't know. Yeah, it seems like...
So he's taking care of something in his body that has gone wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's completely harmless to have it.
So something that
Like, yeah, but he's messing with the perfection because, like, I mean, God said you should have breast tissue, clearly.
something that is not normal because it has a name. Well,
It's not normal because it has a name. Again, I would just point out Kaitlyn Bennett has a name.
not gender affirming care. It's fixing.
Yeah, it is gender affirming care, though. Because he's having something, because gynecomastia is when a cis man has an anatomical features develop that are inconsistent with their gender.
Something that hasn't gone correctly in his body, like he has a hormonal issue.
Well, yeah.
So there's something dysfunctional going on in his body. Whether it wouldn't hurt him to keep that.
Well, yeah, true. Except maybe it would kind of hurt him in a particular way. I wonder what we could call that. It might give him gender dysphoria. Oh, wait. There's a name for gender dysphoria. So clearly gender dysphoria is something that people should be able to get helped out with.
The tissue that's growing. But choosing to remove that because it's not supposed to be there.
But, I mean, that tissue has human DNA. That is a life. That breast tissue is a human life. He should not be trying, they should not be, like, putting their careers first. They should be nurturing that abnormal breast tissue that has human DNA because that's a life. Kaitlyn Bennett taught me this.
That's totally okay, and I believe that is surgery to help care for him.
His gender of man.
But it doesn't change it. It doesn't change.
No, but
well, yeah, that's the point. It doesn't change it. It affirms it. That's what affirming means.
His gender as a man.
Okay, so as a transgender person, I wear a binder because I can't get the surgery that I want to get. And for me personally, it's also a comfort thing, but also the binders that I'm wearing do a lot of bad things to my body. They constrict my ribs, they make it hard to breathe, and other such things. So I don't understand why you would want someone who's not comfortable with their own chest not to just go and get that surgery done if they want to get it done.
Well, because she sucks.
Because to be more gender affirming, I wouldn't be hurting myself as much if I could just go get that surgery now.
I do understand.
No, you probably don't.
Where you're coming from.
I'm sure she does.
Though.
And
you don't know what I'm going through. That's
and I think. Can you tell me about your?
Okay, he's totally giving Ralph Macchio in The Karate Kid. Something about that hair immediately makes me think the original Karate Kid.
Your childhood?
My childhood? Oh, whoa!
I am formally back to visiting college campuses.
Oh, wait. So she's skipped?
The first...
that must have been really good because she skipped over it.
This one is USF. If you want to support my work to bring you this content that I know you love, go to patreon.com/Kaitlyn Bennett to support my work. Even $5 a month gets you to my favorite Facebook group, and we can chat one-on-one about what I should be asking Gen Z out here. Or if you want to help fund my babysitter fund, you can give us super thanks right down below. It's very convenient. And support my work. Thank you.
Whoa. Can of worms.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I grew...
Work. Thank you.
Whoa.
That's a can of worms.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I grew up pretty happy. I have a loving family. They're great. I live with my family, my dad, my stepmom. Like, it's fantastic.
So your parents are divorced or never together?
No, they were divorced.
They were divorced.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that explains everything then, apparently.
Does divorce cause
transgender?
people?
Wait, Amanda,
Like, they're completely taking the piss out of her.
are you transgender?
I mean, I could totally see it would be. I mean, I can think of worse transition goals, actually. I mean, in fact, it's been. I had a song from that movie running through my head a few days ago, and I was thinking about it. It's like, actually, like, probably a sort of non-bino transition goal as well, because he had sort of, in that movie, he had sort of a face that kind of could go either way. And hair that could go either way. I mean, actually, Ralph Macchio in The Karate Kid, thinking about it, was basically a lesbian.
Are you transgender? Like,
So
I feel like
first,
that's not
I'm
a factor
sorry.
in there.
What I'm saying
you don't need
is.
to apologize. It's not your fault. Like, that's
No,
just
I'm
how
not.
it
I'm
is.
not apologizing, saying that I'm responsible for any of that. I'm saying that I'm
Again, this is her job, and she's so bad at it.
sorry that your parents didn't stay together, and then
Like, that, I mean, that's not half presumptuous. Like, mine didn't stay together, and it was actually a wonderful thing. I'm glad that it happened.
you were in kind of a broken home. Is that what we would
I wasn't
call
in
that?
a broken home, though. My family was quite loving.
When did you decide that you were not a girl?
Probably when I was, like, younger. Like, it's just feelings and thoughts. Like, watching how other kids react to, like, like when they see a boy growing up, or, like, they're just boys and such. Like, it's just a wanting thing. Like, I want to be that. I like that. I like...
I mean, this is the wild thing about her entire content, is that just about everybody she talks to comes off... I mean, she's talking to just random-ass people that she finds on campus, and all of them come off as more reasonable and well-informed than she is. And then they laugh at her and she makes an ass of herself.
Being called him.
If I may add a contribution.
So what was? Hold on, I want to get the story.
Oh, yes.
Because I think it matters and it's important. So
I was
I'm not
about to
pushing you
fire,
away.
so-
I'm not trying to push you away, but I'm really interested in talking. So I'm being caring, I'm affirming right now.
Oh, yes.
So where would you say, who was the first person you told this to?
Probably my friends.
Your friends?
Yeah.
Okay. And they were all supportive. They're like, oh yeah, like you're totally a boy.
Well, there's always going to be the backlash of, like, are you sure? And it takes a while to figure that out for some people. For me, I was like, no, I don't want to be a girl, I want to be a boy. And that's just...
Like, I mean, what gets me about this is that, like, your right-wing transphobes, they've figured out a blueprint for how to make all this stuff look fucking wild and unbelievable and unreasonable and whatever. And if you edit things correctly, you can manage to make anything sound that way, which is why don't talk to these jabronis. I mean, unless you've just got a one-liner to get off and you're just telling them to fuck off. Don't, but on the other hand, like, she just lets them talk, and they all acquit themselves better than she does.
That's how it is.
Okay. Do you think that you could do the things boys do, but be a girl at the same time?
Oh, like which things boys do? Like...
So my thing is the fact that everything I do as, like, a boy is because I'm comfortable as presenting myself as a boy and I want to do it as a boy. So I can't really speak on that half because I really haven't lived my life as a girl because I don't want to, because I don't want to be a girl.
Okay. Why don't you want to be a girl?
There's the...
Yeah, like, I mean, and that's the thing as well. Because the thing is, doing this specifically, like, his friend there, they seem to know each other. I mean, they seem to be together so in one way or another. Like, was stumbling because this clearly is not, this is something she knows about, but not necessarily from experience. But of course, the thing is that there's, like, there are very few people who have been like more thoroughly quizzed on why they think that they are who they are and everything than trans people. So, like, if you want people who have, like, tons of experience explaining this to people who are committed to misunderstanding it, it is absolutely the worst demographic to target with this sort of bullshit content.
Fear, there's a lot of things that women face, ideas of, like, being afraid of being raped, they're looked down upon in society, even things like the pink tax, like stupid stuff like that. For me, I'm not saying that being a woman sucks. Just for me personally, it's not my cup of tea. Just like how you probably don't want to be a boy. Like, I don't want to be a girl.
And what did your parents say when you told them this?
My dad was like, you are so cool, like fantastic. Like, he was super supportive of me because he wants me to be happy. And if I'm happy as a boy, then why not live life as a boy?
Yeah, I mean, terrible family. She's gonna, I mean, this is so great. Like, she should never, like, if she knew what she was doing, and again, I stress that what she's doing is one of the easiest things ever, she would never fucking have put this up on the net. Because she's gotten somebody who is defying all of the little bullshit stereotypes that she keeps on making up, and is really articulate and does an excellent job of, like, debunking all her crap. This is what she does. She walks around university campuses and gets dunked on.
If I'm not happy as a girl, then if I can be a happy boy, then, like, why the heck not?
And what is it about being a girl, do you think? I know you said about, like, you don't want to be a girl because of the rape
well, there's
and
more
everything.
to it than that.
Right.
Obviously, like, it's just me a personal thing. I just don't want to be a girl. That's literally it. Like, I feel like I don't have to. I shouldn't have to explain it much.
But what is it about being a girl that is so off-putting that you're wearing binders? You want to get surgery? You want to take? I'm guessing this is a question. Are you wanting to take hormone replacement therapy?
I mean, not that's not intrusive at all.
Okay, what is it about being a girl that is so off-putting and just so, like, ugh?
Well, it's not like, I just don't want to be a girl. It's just not.
But why? But why?
I just think, like, the way that females are represented, or the way that they're replaced, like, hello, oh my god, my bad, the way that they're viewed to, like, it's just not my thing. Like, I don't want to be viewed as a girl. I don't want to be viewed as, like, maybe less, or how some people look at women and they're like, they automatically assume they're above. Like, that's not how I want to be looked at. I want to be looked at as a man, and that's just how I'm comfortable as. Like,
okay, so what is it about a man that you're like, I want to be a man? So I know, like, you're like, about being.
She has a shirt on. I don't know if you can see it from the window size. Let me see. Okay, yeah, it's fairly legible. It says Kate's unsafe space, and what's hilarious about that to me is that if there's anyone the space has not been particularly hospitable for, it's Kate.
Being a girl is like, I just don't want to be a girl. Okay, well, let's go to what you want to be instead of focusing on the negatives, be the positives. Why do you want to be a man?
There's a lot more privilege to being a man.
So it's like a selfish thing. You're like, I want to be, okay,
yeah.
all right.
Same way people want to be rich because they want to have lots of money. Like, I want to be a man, obviously.
I love the honesty.
Yeah, but also, like, I just am more comfortable as a boy with the way society views as boys, like, all that other stuff. Like, if I look at,
like, she's really not helping herself by putting this up.
Like, the way I was treated as a girl versus how I get treated now as, like, a boy, it's completely different. Things like, simple stuff like, when girls say, like, oh, I want to work on this, or they're like, well, no, you're a girl, you can't be doing that. Or, like, even, like, simple stuff is like, oh, like, women can't be doctors, even though they technically can. But, like, if you look at, like, children's toys and whatnot, it's like, okay, well, the man's like, oh, they're doing all this cool stuff, and the girl's like, okay, you're just kind of there in the background. But also, like, it's just a comfort thing for me. Like, I just want to be a boy. Like, that's just...
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your time, and thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're probably the 1000th person to provide this, or, you know, equally good or better explanations, because her livelihood comes from pretending not to understand these things. College Lib says gender is a social construct. Wow, what will they think of next?
So-
Yeah, he's totally a fascist.
I think so, yeah. I think you both are, actually.
I'm a fascist.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah,
fascism?
well, yeah, I mean, sort of. You certainly hang out with them. You are sort of a monarchist, but lots of fascists are monarchists. Franco was a monarchist. Hitler was very cool with the monarchists. Mussolini, definitely a monarchist, so yeah.
I'm like, what standards do you use to say that I'm a fascist?
There's usually a belief in like a master race or...
You think I believe that?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Haven't done a great job of proving that you don't.
Maybe.
What is a woman?
Woman, anyone who identifies as a woman, because woman is not a biological thing, it's a social construct.
Okay, but what is it?
When he just answered the fucking question. You already answered it. Like, what, do you want him to say it again?
Well, that's the thing. You can't define a man or a woman. It's like, you can define attributes that we commonly associate with them, but there is no core essence of it.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just talking to people who immediately come off as... I mean, and these are people who are, like, unprepared, and they just come off immediately. Like, if you stick a fucking microphone in my face before I have coffee and are asking me fucking questions, I don't know that I talk into a microphone a lot these days. It's amazing how much material I had to go through to make that year-end highlight reel thing. That took like a week and a half because there was literally a week's worth. I mean, if you watched it back to back, it would take you more than an entire week. And I still would not be comfortable fucking like just walking around and having a microphone randomly stuck in my face. I mean, I've had that happen a couple of times, and mostly I've done actually quite well at it. And most of what I said got cut out. But I mean, these are just like university students, and she's just randomly walking into. They're probably hungover. They probably haven't had coffee yet or whatever, and they're coming up with they're completely schooling her.
What's your political ideology? What would you call yourself?
Anarchist, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. He used to be an anarcho-capitalist. How silly, right?
Yeah, extremely actually. It's a fucking oxymoron.
And you endorse Trump as a god king and called libertarianism an ideology for children, so...
That was all him.
Oh, you're that guy? You're like the Liberty Hangout guy, right?
Yeah, he's the Liberty Hangout guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got the fucking Liberty Hangout logo on your fucking video. How are you not the Liberty Hangout person?
I'm just the wife.
Oh, yeah. That was really funny, by the way. I think it's a classic example of, like, how there's a pipeline of libertarians to fascists and monarchists, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's like literally what everybody who's thought about it for a minute points out, that if you were to follow the idea that rich people should just have absolutely no restrictions on what they do, that you would end up with just feudalism, and she has just demonstrated that.
I think you guys did a great job, like, being an example of that, so...
Like, wow. She keeps this in. Like, just completely.
Yeah, he's totally a fascist.
I think so, yeah. I think you both are, actually.
I'm a fascist.
Yeah.
What is fascism? Like, what standards do you use to say that I'm a fascist?
Well, the most basic definition people have given is called palingenetic ultranationalism, but it's basically like... There's also, like, the Ur-fascism criteria, like, there's the...
Okay, like, really well-read anarchist. This is the thing. It's like, you've got somebody who's actually done their homework, like, knows Umberto Eco's Ur-fascism and everything, and is coming up. And, see, this is the person, like, for her content, she really ought to not, like, keep this person in.
Belief in this, grand, like... beautiful past that we've fallen from, that we've like eroded moral standards, that there was this great nation. There's usually a belief in like a master race or...
You think I believe that?
Yeah, well, he said usually, but yeah, I mean, she has done a lot of racist stuff, so...
Maybe. I can't say...
Well, I'm telling you, I don't.
I mean, I don't believe a lot of what you say on face value.
Like... She gets paid to do this. She could have an editor edit it dishonestly.
But
Yeah, what's an example? Why do you...
Like, yeah, it just says, yeah, I don't really put much stock in the stuff you say about yourself. With a, like, fucking derisive scoff. Like...
You think I believe that there's a master race? So you think I'm racist?
I mean,
well, I mean, yes, that's... I mean, it's not even a matter of anyone thinks it. She's professional at being racist.
I never claimed that exactly. I think a lot of what you do is really like...
Tell me what you really think about me.
Oh, let's do it. It's on.
I mean, I don't really like you, to be honest, if you want me to be completely honest, but...
No, keep on going. I want to hear the word grifter.
Completely honest, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Why don't
incompetent.
Because you stand for a lot of things I wholeheartedly disagree with.
You like me? Okay. Does that mean you have to dislike me? Or
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, on some things, yeah. It's like, there are things you can disagree on and still like each other. And then there's, like, wanting to fucking impose conversion therapy on trans people and have a fucking feudalism and shit. Like, yeah, no, you're a shitty person.
or we could just disagree?
It depends. Like, there's a spectrum of disagreement you can have.
I mean, like, she picks the most, like, reasonable fucking people, too. Like... I love that this guy is the anarchist her audience is seeing, because he's well-read, clearly, and he's clearly given this stuff a lot of thought and is very reasonable in his responses. I mean, like, this is, like, absolutely not the anarchist that she would want to have talking about this.
Yeah.
Like, I can't... Of course, it would be unreasonable for you to expect everyone, you know, to, like, be 100% on board with your same beliefs all the time, because that's not going to happen. But there are certain values that we have, that we hold like, dearly. And there are certain standards, like... I mean...
What about me do you dislike the most?
I'm like mentally making that porcupine eating a pumpkin sound right now.
I don't think that really matters.
No, don't hold back on her account. I want to hear because it's going to be good.
Well, what, like, but you say you don't like me. What is it about me that you don't like? Because
Good, she's insisting.
you don't know me.
Well, I mean, and that's true. I don't know her either. But I know her work, and, I mean, I could understand if my body of work were what she does, I would also not want to be judged by my body of work. But the thing is, it is her body of work, and it certainly says some things about her as a person, and none of them are flattering.
You just know my political opinions.
Yeah, I don't really care. Like... I mean, like, yeah, sure, but you're also a public figure, not just like a person who I know in my personal life.
Yeah.
And so I think what you do has much more of an impact on society at large. And, like, I don't know, if I had a family member or something that was like, this had a similar personality to you, like, that would be kind of whatever, but, like, you know, that person wouldn't have power or influence or as far as the reach as you have. Like, you're like a media personality. So,
All right.
and I don't really care about like good versus bad people. I care about good versus bad beliefs, you know. So like, I don't want to just say like,
I mean, again, she's picked like the most the most reasonable and articulate and well-read person to completely dismantle her, and she leaves it in.
Like, oh, you're a bad person. Like, sure, I can feel that way, but I care more about like the things that you like spread and propagate and what effect that has. You know, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, because she's making society shit more, suck more.
Said you're kind of worried about Trump and how he might hurt some of the people with his policies, and then you mentioned trans people and stuff like that. What policies would hurt? That's one of my favorite subjects. Actually, it's been forced down my throat to be a subject that I even think.
Oh yeah, I know she hates talking about trans people. That's why, like, a third of her fucking videos are her talking about trans people and getting completely and utterly schooled on the subject.
About, I prefer not to.
Not really. You don't have
It has
to.
been.
You don't have to think about trans people if you don't want to. You know.
No, but
They
the
seem to,
ideology
I think
has
they live
been.
rent-free in your head, to be honest.
They live rent free in my head.
Yeah, like.
I think I live rent free in your head.
No, oh, wait. Okay, this could be good. This could be real.
What was your name? What was his name? I don't remember.
Xander.
Xander.
I haven't. I mean, there's very few people I've seen that like make their entire career just like defaming an entire group of people. So
Who did I do that to?
Trans people.
Trans people. I mean, I'm not that forgetful.
Okay, what did I do to trans people?
Well, for one.
I mean, this is just fucking chef's kiss.
I mean, I get you confused all the time with people like Chaya Rice Chick and such, but you know.
See, she was talking about, oh, you riv. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that the concept of biological sex is not a biological concept. It is complete nonsense. Like, the thing is that, like the concept of species, it's a taxonomy. It is, we're coming up with names and categories for things to make sense out of stuff we find in nature, and then it turns out, actually, those categories that we come up with don't work out as well as, you know, the more we find out about, like, what's going on in nature, the less our categories make sense. I mean, look at the debates around the platypus. Like, if you go back to when Western zoologists first became aware that there was such a thing as the platypus, they didn't know what the fuck to do with it, because their definition of mammal, coming from, you know, knowledge of animals in, like, Asia, you know, Europe, Africa, Asia, Turtle Island, was, you know, a mammal has hair and nurses its young and does live birth and has, like, a mouth and an ass and stuff. And then they come up with this fucking platypus in Australia, and it's got hair and it lays eggs. And it has a mouth that is also an ass and also a birth canal. And it was and it also nurses its young. And so the category had to be completely rethought in order to deal with this new data. And that's exactly the sort of thing. That's why the concept of biological sex is totally unbiological. It is an ideological category.
You know, from what I remember, though, you used to do these college interviews where you like tried to make it look like people were believing insane things when they're like asking about like urinals and tampons and bathrooms and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one that people.
You were like so dumbfounded that most people just like did not give a and you couldn't not handle that idea.
No, I didn't handle. I actually slept very poorly that day because I could not handle it. I couldn't handle it at all.
Yeah, you can't handle very much. But, I mean, I'm just noticing the time, and it is time to wrap up. And as I wrap up, there is another porcupine. I'm going to give you another porcupine. And seriously, bring porcupines into your life. They are very good for the moments when things get to be a bit too much. This is a porcupine who apparently lives not too far from me, and has an impressive nose. And I have to say, better photo quality, too. Better image quality. But in the meantime, let me also just say, if you enjoy the stream, please consider supporting the stream and supporting the Inessa Almol Translation Project. It's a real lifeline for me at the moment because it's been a shitty year. Following on from a shitty year. Following on from another shitty year. And the AI grift that's been fucking killing my profession. And so that is like one of my main sources of income that it keeps me eating, and it's also helping to enrich the canon. So please support that if you can, and if you can't, don't feel bad about it. Lots of people can't. It's a shitty time for a lot of people. There's all sorts of it's a shitty time in general, actually. It's an interesting time in which we've all ended up being alive together. But I'm glad that we found each other here, and now enjoy this porcupine. He's eating corn, and he's holding it in his little hands. And he has a huge fucking nose. do stay. It's a short video, but it is wonderful, and you get a lot of porcupine nose. I will be back at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. God, his nose to head ratio is off the hook. Yeah, what River just said, that is the key thing. And there we go, that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining me, and I will be back.